everything goes wrong, that's how it's meant to go. And that's how I'm meant to learn. And so I always remember you saying, like, if you're going to fail, fail fast. And that was what made me able to do it because I thought, I'm only going to win or lose. And my breathwork session, my first session that I did, for me, was a win. Like, I was like, I got out of that mindset and suddenly it fell into place and win I felt lose. Really and confident holding the space. My breathwork session, my first session that I did, for me, I can hear myself.
Yeah, because I'm live streaming. I'm
Oh.
muted on Facebook.
um, yeah, I basically, for me, it was a win, but I think it was the personal development that carried over into the professional and that made me have the confidence and be able to speak in a group. And Kirsty was actually at my breathwork class, so
Oh, hello, Kirsty. Let's go around. Thank you, Isabel, so much. Let's just welcome people for a few minutes.
Hi.
Hi, Kirsty.
Nice
I
to
love
see
what are
you.
you wearing? Is that like a hotel robe?
It's literally my dressing gown. Yeah, it's a
Oh,
trapeze.
thank you. You're live
Thanks.
on Facebook, just so you know. The world is seeing your
That's fine.
own
I'm
it,
good with
own it.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just curious what brings you here.
I've just been following you forever. So I guess since
Oh, that was
Amy
you.
did
I was
hers.
always
That
wondering
was
who that
me.
was. Okay.
It's me. I know, and it's just not really timed up yet for me. So I'm just whenever there's something to learn, I'm always here. Obviously, yeah, I went to Isabel's things because I miss Amy doing hers, and I just really love that kind of breathing. So yeah, I just think the whole world just needs it. So keep going.
Bless you, bless you, bless you. Welcome, Hannah. Do you want to also say a few words why you come here today? You are muted. Hello. So let me read on your lips. And now I can read on fingers, but
There we go. Sorry.
it's all right.
Hi, what was the question, Alex? Sorry.
Just what brings you here today?
So a bit of a deep dive, really. Obviously, we had a little chat the other day, and I've had quite a few friends that have done your facilitating course, and I'm just really interested in listening to everyone else today and what you've got to say about it.
Amazing. So you've got Isabel here who did the training. Maybe you know already about her. She did it a few months ago.
Okay,
So
amazing.
let's see if we have time for her at the end. But yeah, I think you know what, my friends? I'm gonna press on Instagram here. You recognize old people because they are saying what they're doing. They can't do it without saying it. That's a sign. So that's me. And now I'm gonna spotlight. Here we go. All recording. How's my sound? The volume is okay? Okay. Let's receive one breath together. Ah. So my intention for today is to share really practical tools. For me, the fundamentals that if you embrace them, in my opinion, will make you stand out from everyone else. Will make you become not a good facilitator, but a great facilitator. And I go to a lot of sessions and I'm always quite critic of what I see. And I want to share the recipe, the tools that I think if you really take them on, all of them, then you don't even need to come to my training. You've got if you can do that, then you can save money and just do that. But if you feel you need help with accessing some of them, then come over. We'll happily help you. We'll be in Bali, we'll be in India, we may be in Portugal at the end of the year. So many opportunities. So the secret of being a great facilitator. First and foremost, it starts with you. It's nothing you need to do, but it's developing that relationship with yourself. Can you be more? Yeah. So, can you cultivate that relationship with yourself? That's if you are not embodied, this is something that's going to be really difficult because it's not going to come as genuine and authentic, and you're not going to be able to, pass on the things that are really, really passed on subconsciously. When you are with someone, you receive the words, but you receive so much more, the energy of the person. So the more you are really focused on doing the work, more you are able to be an embodied human, not even facilitator. Forget about facilitator, being just an embodied human. And for me, there are two parts to that. There is the somatic part and the psychological part. I think both are very important. It's important to do the work with a therapist, talk therapy, so really understand what happened to you, understand why you are behaving the way you behave. I love a model called IFS, Internal Family System, where all of a sudden, with love and compassion and care, I welcome all the parts of me, a little bit like a mother or father would welcome all the children without judging them. I welcome all the parts of me to the table, the one that are scared, the one that are lying, the one that are, a little bit that I don't really want to have in my life, but I welcome them all. And that's an important part of the process of, yeah, I welcome myself and I develop this relationship. I say that one of my way I start the day, and I recommend people to do the same, is I start the day connecting with myself and I say something, and I sometimes say it really out loud, looking at myself in the mirror, says, hello, my love. I'm here. And then I soften and then I give this attention to myself and says, hey, what's going on? A little bit like you dream of a partner, no matter if you're a man or a woman, a partner that is truly listening, who's really present, who's not distracted, who's not doing anything else, who's fully present, says, okay, I'm here. What's happening? I'm not going anywhere. All parts of you are welcome. So developing this ability to develop that connection to the self. And you need to develop some somatic practices because everything is in the body. And when people are addicted to knowledge and understanding themselves, but it's not because you understand it that you're going to feel it. So it's important to actually, the more you understand, the less you feel, because the more you feel satisfied with having an understanding. So there is space for understanding, and then there is space to make for truly feeling and receiving. So that's breath work, conscious movement, all embodied practices that you already do, but dancing very much is one of my favorites. So just going into the body. Yeah. So there is both parts. When I'm in this connection with myself, for years, I was just feeling miserable because there is so much trauma. There is so many things that happen to me that I feel, okay, I can spend all my life. And I dive deep into feeling a victim and just staying there. So now I find it equally important, as I'm doing a lot of work on myself, welcoming my parts, maybe having a cry in the morning, having a release, then I cultivate also happiness. And I intentionally spend time practicing things that make me happy. So it's not something that really depend on my environment. So I don't rely on relationship. I don't rely on success. I really cultivate the ideas as, okay, what does make me happy? And how can I cultivate this relationship with happiness? And I found that it is very profound. It really shifts my vibration. One of the things I say every morning is, today is the best day of my life. And 2 days ago, I said that, and then I spent the day in hospital. I had some health issues at the moment, and I needed to be in the hospital. But the vibration that I had, the connection I had with the nurses, the energy that I brought into the space, it was a spa day. I really had an incredible time. And then I had a beautiful meditation, feeling the pain of the people around me in the room. And like, I own how I want to feel in the space. And that's not something that is taken away from me by my environment. So very much, it's my personality that defines my personal reality. I'm not letting my environment define who I am. And that's quite transformational. So that paradigm shift of, hey, today is the best day of my life, and then let's bring on life. And genuinely, I feel happy. And I'll share with you a secret how I find happiness. I mean, it's not, I mean, it's pretty common. Everything I share is pretty common sense, but it's sometimes nice to be reminded of it. I genuinely celebrate what I have. We have, and maybe some of you know her, we had a participant in a training who doesn't have a stomach, who cannot go to the toilet. And I promise you, I feel so much joy and gratitude for my belly every time I'm sitting on the toilet. It's, so that's what I mean. And like it's taking a moment to really appreciate the food, or in the morning when I get to access a beautiful sunrise or witnessing something in nature. It's taking a moment to really witness what is there and fully receive it. And that leads me to the second point when it comes to doing that work, is to take the time to receive and be satisfied with what you have. A lot of people, if they, let's say they sell a retreat, they sell a ticket, okay, cool, yay, move on to the next one. I need to sell more tickets. No, you need to come back to that child energy. A baby, when he's wanting a toy, and when he really wants the toy, then he gets the toy, and oh my God, that feels so good. I got what I wanted. So taking the time to appreciate things you receive, like if you receive a compliment, if you're really receiving a hug, whatever you're exchanging, to really take a moment to let it sink into your nervous system. It says, not going to go anywhere. I'm going to feel it. If you do that as you're receiving clients, you're going to get more clients. That's one of the secrets of abundance, you know? So it's really cultivating that energy. Next on my list, I'm going to go because I have so much I want to share, but then write down your questions and I'll make space for that. The next one is unavoidable, and that's going to help most of us balance this syndrome of feeling like we are a fraud. And that's a normal sensation. And one way to be with it is by having a strong personal practice. Like, be congruent. Do it. Do your breath work. If it's my modalities, connect authentically with people, you know, practice what we preach. And the more you're going to feel that you're in alignment with your words are matching your thoughts, are matching your emotions, that's called alignment, and that feels like liberation. That feels like truth. And that's the feeling. And for that, personal practice. There is no secret to why you're good at what you're doing is repetition. There is no look at your life. You're not just talented or gifted. That's 1%. 99% is just being work. Whether you're a musician, a dancer, a mother, whatever it is, at the beginning it's tough, and as we go, we become better at it. So why do you want all we do to be different? Practice it. The next point to become an amazing facilitator is to find meaning in what you're doing. If you are doing it for the right reason, if you are able to project yourself as, oh my God, look at the impact that together we're making, and this is how we change the world. This sense of purpose is so nourishing. It feels amazing. And when you're in that vibration, guess what, guys? It's one of the key to longevity. If you look at the blue zones, you can watch a documentary on the blue zones. They have some criteria that are all across all blue zones where people live to 120 years old. Is always this idea of connecting to a sense of purpose or meaning. There is more to life than may accumulating money, accumulating fun and relationship and pleasure. There is more to life than that. And I find that facilitating those modalities is amazing because it gives you an incredible purpose. And those who have been with me, they know that it's the best feeling in the world. I share often my story where I, at one point of my life, made $1 million. I had $1 million on my bank account. At one point, I had 600 people calling me jefe. You're the boss. It's nowhere close to the feeling that I feel when one person shares how they've been transformed. It is, you cannot compare it with other material validation, no matter who they are. There is something there about connecting to something greater than ourselves that is hard to grasp, but it basically connects us to the sacred, connects us to something that is magical, mythical, and it's also an anchor. So whenever a hardship comes in the journey of the facilitator, there is this anchor that I know why I'm doing it. I've got my star, northern star. I know where I'm going, and I can take this challenge. I can take being fired, having people not liking my work, all these things which are really challenging for a facilitator. You are able to welcome them with way more ease and compassion for yourself. And that's very much needed in the moments of hardship. Yeah. So just taking a moment to feel all that. Now, the two things that everyone share over and over about why this experience with me is different than other trainings is the level of authenticity and vulnerability that we experience. And again, if I now share about being a facilitator, there is what I say, and there is what your body is able to receive, and all that nonverbal. And there is something called a mirroring brain. And when I get really raw, really authentic, really vulnerable, people feel it and it gives them permission to do exactly the same. So authenticity and vulnerability are not only values that I stand for, but they are tools. They are essential tools for transformation. People will not feel safe. They will not trust if I'm guarded, if they feel, there is something that is not being revealed. So I tend to really share from a place of authenticity and vulnerability. But hang on a minute. I always have a filter when I share. Is it useful to the collective? Or am I sharing because I want to take something? So right now I struggle with body pain. But I don't share that. I didn't share that in my workshop because I don't want people to be into, oh, he shouldn't be facilitating, let's do something nice for him, or whatever is the compassion that will come. That would be me wanting to take something from them. Yeah, to like say, okay, I need the group to take care of me. So I'm very conscious of what I share, and I only share if it has a purpose of being of service. Is it useful to the collective? So that means I don't share everything. Yeah. There's a lot of things that I don't share because I just don't see the point. It doesn't mean that I hide that. I'm seeing that it's not needed. But and I find that people struggle with the perpetrator parts of themselves. It's quite easy for most people to access their victim, but it's way harder to own the perpetrator. So I tend to go quite easily into the things I have done that I used to be extremely ashamed of, but I've done a lot of work of compassion and forgiveness towards myself. And all of a sudden, I give permission to those parts to come. And you have no idea. I mean, the level of vulnerability or authenticity is unheard of. For instance, I had a man once share his addiction to child pornography and his desire when he's around children. Obviously, that's a big issue, but that's something that is completely taboo, that is just rejected. And the only avenue is prison and is just rejection by society. And I have worked with murderers, with rapists in prison. And this idea of welcoming everyone without identifying who's good and who's bad, but welcoming humans saying, you know what, I see you. And there is, all of us can reflect on those parts of us that maybe have done things that maybe they shouldn't have done. And when we're able to welcome these parts to the party, that's for me is one of the key recipes for transformation. You need to welcome all the parts. And yes, for some people who haven't done a lot of work, sharing their vulnerable victim story is not easy, but the perpetrator stories, even harder. So yeah, cultivate this relationship with authenticity and vulnerability. Of course, my friends, all the things I'm sharing have huge impact on your personal life. So it has nothing to do even with facilitation. It's just about how can I live a life of truth. And it's edgy, it's difficult because we've developed some coping mechanisms. Some maybe truth was not the smartest thing to do when we were children and we needed to hide and we needed to manipulate in order to get our needs met. Yeah, so we've developed some coping mechanism. But now it's 40 years later and we still have the same coping mechanism. And we're still afraid of mommy and daddy when they maybe passed away 15 years ago. But we haven't been able to move past that. So yeah, cultivating this is absolutely essential and will get you to create a space where, wow, truly magic happens. For the little story, there were mothers in the room when this gentleman shared about his attraction for children. I have two children that at the time were very small. So it was a really edgy thing to do. But that speaks to the level of safety that is in the space. That when people feel truly safe, and all of a sudden they can bring this level of, you know what, I'm bringing everything. And what they realize that there is never any judgment. Because when someone speaks authentically and vulnerably, really, truly, truthfully, it connects to the authentic raw part and the other. And we're all the same. You know, this concept, we are one, we feel it in those moments. Because, oh my God, there is a part of me that is also have some maybe shameful sexual desires that I don't really want to share. And maybe because you're married and you have desires for someone who's not there. And, you know, those thoughts are there and we just suppress them. And witnessing someone who's owning his dark side is really inspiring, and it creates really a field of, oh my God, I opened my heart. So imagine that someone is sharing, I'm attracted to children, and the result is everybody feel closer to that person and wants to connect with that person and feels empathy and feels connection. Completely the opposite of the narrative that we have in our culture, where we think that only parts of us are welcome to the show. And that's a paradigm shift for a lot of people. That's what makes one of the elements that makes these sessions transformational. People always want to know, oh, come on, transformation, it's a big word. It's 0% underestimated. It's absolutely understated. It's completely that. And it's quite simple, actually. It doesn't require any magical substances. It's not psychedelics. It's just that vibration of says, hey, look at me. I'm a human having a human experience, and I welcome all parts of you. And it's, for most people, it's something that they have never experienced in their life. Almost everyone shares things they have never shared with anyone in their life, including their spouse, their, like, nothing. Because we feel like, wow, if my partner knew everything about me, I'm not sure they would really stay with me. And then there is this fear of abandonment, of judgment, the need of validation, all those childhood wounds that we haven't integrated that are coming to the surface. Oh, that's not worth the risk. Let's not reveal these parts. But then we live a life that is not fully authentic and we feel stuck. Because really the reward of all doing all this is freedom, is complete freedom. And that's worth anything. So here you have really a practical recipe for freedom. Next on my list of how to become a great facilitator, and it's harder that you think, but it's to facilitate from the heart and not from the mind. To be in the feminine and not in the masculine. The masculine has an outcome, is in control, is rigid, is structure. The feminine is allowing what is alive to come to the surface and is following the flow. And I never reveal too much in detail what's happening in my workshops or in my trainings because truthfully, I don't know. It's very much a co-creation with other humans who are genuinely bringing themselves. But by following what is alive, people feel they are on a journey. They don't even realize that it's no, because it's everything is we are doing exactly what feels right in the moment. And for me, it requires quite a level of confidence that I don't need to be attached to what I had planned. I don't need to be attached to what is scheduled. I'm just gonna trust that, you know what? I have my masculine is very strong, and that's knowledge. I have my tools. So in situations, I know it's like a stand-up comedian. He arrives, he's like flying with the audience, but then all of a sudden he's got his ready-made jokes that he can use. It's a little bit the same as facilitators. Says, come, I'm gonna just play with the audience, see what's alive, what's going on, and then I'm gonna bring things that I can plug in. So sometimes I plan to do breath work, and breath work comes at the end. Sometimes, truthfully, I don't need breath work. I give it to them because they expect they pay for it. But people are completely open. I don't even need to do anything. It's completely there, and this is This is not easy to do, but you learn to do that in my training. You learn to dropping into that feminine. And you know why? Because when you do that, it works. Healing happens in the feminine, it doesn't happen in the masculine. And it has nothing to do with gender. Nothing to do with gender. It's the ability to be in attunement, in flow, in soften and receive. It's the energy of receiving. Okay, what am I receiving? And I need to do that. I need to be in an energy of allowing and receiving and being of service. If I embody that, then naturally things will unfold perfectly. Yeah? But if I do things because there is a strict structure, it's not working the same. It's not as profound. So one of the things that I share, and I'll speak later about it, but I keep almost a fourth or a third of the sessions for the integration, for the sharing part. And I found that this is a scary part for me because what if no one has anything to share? What is nothing happening? Then I have another hour to fill. So it's a bit edgy, but it's where the true magic happens. I'll come back to that. Now, next on my point is to cultivate humility. And it's really important, and it needs to be stressed because we are we work with people that are going to largely project on you. And they feel, oh my God, this person is amazing, this facilitator, da 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 da. So it's very important to remain humble. No, we're there. We're holding a container. We're bringing presents, but people are doing the work, and it's the field that is there. So celebrating the field rather than feeding the ego that is in need of validation. So one of the things that I say at the beginning of my trainings is, guys, don't waste your time having an opinion about me because I don't care. Leave me alone. Just focus on yourself, and we will get. Don't think, oh, Alex, what he's wearing, oh, he did this and he said that and he did the opposite. All the, oh, let me figure out if this guy is genuine or is a fraud or is not in alignment. What a waste of your energy. You're not here to judge me. What that's a coping mechanism actually. Let's focus on someone else so I don't focus on myself. So instead of that, leave me alone. I'm a human and I'm completely happy with my humanness and the fact that I sometimes make mistakes, and I'm very happy with my mistakes. I don't have to do anything perfectly, and I say things that I should not say and blah, blah, blah. Leave me alone. Why do you expect me to be superior to you? I'm at the same level. So cultivating that is really important. Like I give you an example. The three words that create the most safety in my sessions is when I say, I don't know. When people ask a question and I say, you know what? I don't know. And I almost always find something where I can say, I don't know, because I know the power of those words. And I says, oh my God, that feels great. Someone who owns that he doesn't know anything in a day and age where everybody's pretending over and over that they've got everything together, it creates a lot of trust that says, okay, if he says he doesn't know that, then when he says something, I can trust that he knows what he's talking about. Yeah. So owning that, being in your heart and checking in if you're there. The masculine is equally important, but the masculine comes in support of the feminine. My masculine is always there, says, I've got you, baby. Do your thing, do your magic, but I'm right behind you and I'm really strong. Nothing's going to happen. That means my knowledge, and I'm cultivating and reading and studying so that whatever comes, I feel, okay, I'm always studying and learning and growing and expanding. I'm planning, I'm organizing everything well. I have two computers, two cameras, two timers, two microphones. Like everything is backed up. So like I have a very masculine way of securing, so my feminine can be, okay, cool. He's got me. I can flow. Yeah, so it's very much about finding that balance and finding the space for the masculine to be there in the background so that the feminine can come forward. Again, nothing to do with gender. We all do that. Yeah. Next on my little list is the importance of having a clean energy. And a little bit continuing what I just shared, I need to be in energy of service, of giving and not taking. And check in with yourself. Did I feel bad and now I feel better after the session? Well, you took something. What did you take? What was there? What you were needed to receive, and you got it there. Oh, I want people to send me a testimonial where they say it was amazing. Well, it feels like you're in need of validation of some kind. And you're obviously looking in the wrong place because you're looking for your father and mother to be proud of you. And instead of going there, you're asking for testimonials. And if you're not getting testimonials, you can feel the rejection of your mother and your father. It doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. So instead of looking for validation from our partners and our students, which is like looking for the keys that you lost in your bedroom, in your bathroom, that you can look forever in the bathroom. If you know that they were in the bedroom, you can go for a while. It's actually going in the right place for what you want. And of course, it's going within and actually feeling that. And when you're there, then all of a sudden you practice being detached from outcomes. Says, okay, some people will like me, some people will not like me, and that's also fine. And this non-attachment is really important because you cannot please everybody. Everybody will come with different styles. I don't know. It's not the case, but maybe some people will. That let's be racist. Maybe the Germans, they like that there is a clear schedule. Okay, I'm being completely racist now. Like, don't trash me on social media. I think it's okay to be racist with Germans. It's not as bad. So, and then they will not like my session because they have no clue what's happening. Yeah, because they often have a big need of control. So it's okay. And then I have received some criticism. And also, and Isabel was in one of those trainings. I try things. And some of it works, some of it doesn't work, and it was controversial. And I learned from it. So I have very much this relation of forgiveness and say, oh, you're trying something new, try. It's okay. And maybe 80% worked and 20% didn't work, but I learned so much from it. I love this quote. I think it's Nelson Mandela. And if you can embrace that, it will have a big impact in your life. It's like, I never lose. Either I win or I learn. And with that mindset, you're pretty much bulletproof. If Nelson can come out of how many years in jail and just give a hug to the guards, maybe there is a space for you to do something similar and not take things too personally and take them personally. So both of them, but don't be too harsh. I think it's really important to develop a soft, kind relationship with ourselves. Yeah, like this is almost the most important. If you can be soft and kind of caring the same way you are with others, with yourself, forget everything I share. You'll be good. But very often we're so hard on ourselves, and that doesn't work because we're behaving the way our parents behaved with us, and it didn't work then. Let's try it again, but me doing it to myself. Oh shit! Surprise! It doesn't work either. So yeah. Also, as a man, clean energy also means what's my sexual energy? Am I there and I'm feeling some attraction and just have, this awareness if it's the case and not suppress it. Okay, feel it and then be with it and then transcend it. It's really important that people feel safe in every aspect. And one of the things that I share that is quite edgy is I test my assumptions. So because of my childhood and tough relationship with mothers and grandmother, there is a part of me that cultivates anger towards the feminine. And I know, and it is there in my life. But I don't want that part to be present when I facilitate. But I don't know whether it's happening or not subconsciously. So I ask my students in the teacher training to raise their hand if they feel I don't behave the same way with men and women in the group. So very authentic, very vulnerable while I bring down this topic. And for the first few years, I was receiving some feedback from someone who says, you know what? Yeah, I feel, and there were some different comments over the years of calibration. But I've improved so much the relationship with myself and, of course, with my inner feminine and with my masculine as a result of that. So it's very much this idea of non-judgment, just observing, okay, that's what it is. You have anger, unresolved anger towards the feminine. Cool. Let's work. It's something to work with. And that's something that you don't want to bring. So bring your right intention and transcend it. And yeah, it's done. As other things, I'm a work in progress, but this one's done. Oh, out of focus. Next on my list, the importance of setting intention. I don't do anything anymore without setting an intention. And that needs to become a muscle. What's my intention? I'm connecting with someone. What is my intention? I'm starting a session. What's going on for me? What's my intention? And the more I connect to my intention, the more I honor myself, the more people will have the space to honor themselves. Same is the mirroring brain. So if I don't know, maybe if you follow me, you know that there is a part of me that wants to become a stand-up comedian. So I want to bring the playful, fun guy, and I feel, wow, I actually want to be with that guy, and I'm welcoming him. So I share that as an intention to bring this energy of playfulness. Okay, and that's my intention. But I kind of have a clear intention in what I do, and sometimes it's closed, sometimes it's open. So it's there. But I feel that the more people feel that, the more it gives them permission to also be, oh, okay, that's a clear intention. What's my intention? It's again, most of the work happens between the lines. Next on my little list, the concept of bookend. There is a start to my session, there is an end to my station. And I'm as much as my feminine is in charge, the masculine, I have a German side, actually I have 25% German, and this part is in charge of the timekeeping. And I start on time, I finish on time. And I start with a check-in and I finish with a checkout. And there is no compromise to that. People love frames. They love the idea of, okay, what's happening here? Where are we? Okay, there is a container. You need to frame that container, create that container. What are the guidelines? What's happening there? What are the rules of engagement? So creating the elements for safety and trust is really important. And I found that those parts, guidelines, what are the rules, but also check-in, check-out are absolutely essential. Just a few words on that. But when I do a check-in, I'm the last to speak. Everyone speaks and then I finish. Why? Because I don't want anyone to be influenced by my style of sharing. I want them to share and they will all share individually, not being affected by me. So it's very important that I share last. And I always ask for people to share what's alive in them. And very often, they share things that if they had not shared it, would have bothered them. They wouldn't have been fully present with me because they received an email that is disturbing them. But the fact that they have space to share about that email or someone who's being sick or whatever is going on, the emotion can be felt and then we can come back into presence. So it's very essential. And in that moment as a facilitator, I listen with my nose. I try to smell if someone is hiding, is pretending, and I just see if I want to ask additional question or just bring their authentic self a bit more. And very often the check-in circle is a very emotional moment. Yeah, and we are 10 minutes into the workshop, and it can be really, really fast. I have a magic prop question you can use whenever I want to ask something a bit tough. I say, I'm curious. And when I say I'm curious, it brings the energy of the child. And maybe you've witnessed these scenes where it says, oh, a child asking someone, oh, why you don't have a leg? You know? And then the over says, oh my God, please don't ask this question. This is so embarrassing. But the person is really happy that someone is asking the obvious question, why you don't have a leg? You know? And that's us and our conditioning that feels there is a problem with it. So somehow asking the obvious from a place of a child says, oh, I'm curious. I'm curious if there is something else that you are not revealing, you know, if I sense that. I'm curious why you're always looking at your pen when you're talking. I'm curious. I'm curious why you didn't join us for the dance. You know, and I just bring to the surface what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing with the other person. And boom, no matter what's going to happen, it's going to bring them into the space. So by the end of a circle, and we're talking 10 minutes, people will be dropped in, they will feel connected, and they will already feel safer. So very important. And at the end, the checkout is equally important. A checkout is different from the integration. It's different from the share. The checkout is a moment where everybody speaks, even if it's just for a sentence, just so that I know who's okay and who's not okay. So the checkout is almost more for me than for them. I want to know if someone is going to leave my workshop not integrated. And I'm going to sense it right away. I'm going to feel the person who's not making eye contact, who's not coherent in their share. Then, so in terms of safety, I have a responsibility towards the collective. And for me, a checkout is the moment where it says, okay, everybody's good. And I can share about the usual things, but no one's listening to those, aftercare tips. It's empty words nowadays. Yeah, you should drink, you should ground, and you should journal. But I still want to check what's going on. Yeah? Another word on my list of secret of transformation is attunement. When I'm in session, I'm fully in energy of receiving and allowing. And I'm like, if someone needs a pen, I know it. If someone wants to go to the bathroom, I know it. Like I know everything that's going on. I feel and I'm connected to everyone. If someone is sharing, I feel who is being triggered, what's going on. Like I really put all my energy into really feeling with all my senses what's going on. And also, on that note, I meet people where they are. That's really, really important. Very often you see facilitators that comes from a place of, heroes. One day this happened to me and now look at me and maybe one day you're going to be like me. I don't like that. I don't think it works. I don't think it's efficient. I think it's way better to join people exactly where they are, feel the vibration, join them, and then go up with them. What does it look like? If I'm invited to talk on stage in front of business people, I will wear a suit with shoes. I'm not going to dress like a hippie because that's going to tell them, oh, this guy feels superior to us. His difference means he's feeling superior. If I'm with children, I'm going to be on the ground, and I'm going to be sharing stories like they share with each other. So it's important to really feel what is the vibe and let me meet the vibe. Let me meet the vibe. And that's what's beautiful with breath and just modalities of alignment. It just brings us into, okay, now we're vibrating. And sometimes I'm just asking, what's the energy level? And I will feel like half of the people say that, half of the people say that, half of the third say that. Okay, cool. Now I know what's happening, and I'm gonna work with that. The energy is midway, so I'm not gonna be too excited. I'm gonna join that vibration, and for that, it's way easier to bring the people up. Yeah. I want to spend a bit of time with, again, the importance of integration. That's going to make you stand out from other facilitators. Most facilitators are focused on breathwork when it comes to facilitating breathwork. I consider breathwork prep work. I consider that breathwork starts after the session, not in breathwork. And here is why. Breathwork opens up. But mostly, especially for people who are very close, they don't even know that they are open. So they will tell you, oh, that was nice. I enjoyed it, but not much happened. I hear that over and over. But then in the sharing circle, someone will share something that's going to trigger them. And all of a sudden they're crying, they don't even know what they're crying. And all of a sudden they're ready to share something that they didn't think they would be sharing. And I see that every single time. So don't miss out on and learn the art of circling, the art of facilitating deep, meaningful, authentic connections, because that's what's going to make you really stand out. That's where the magic happens. In every language, healing and circle is the same word. There is a reason why I'm not a big fan of one-on-one, and I love group sessions because I think it's working better. And people love having undivided attention from the facilitator. There is something magical about finding this healing energy, but from a stranger, not from a professional. It's just someone who's there in the room, and I feel, oh my God, I've got so much from that connection. And if you watch the final circles of all the trainings, most people talk about the collective. Like they all talk mainly about the collective and the vibration that was there. So that's, I find, is the most important element. The most important element is not an individual. It's not me as facilitator. There is another, like we say, when you're in a relationship, there is you, there is your partner, and then there is an entity that you build with your partner. The partnership is exactly the same. The container is alive and it's a specific entity and it needs to be taken care of. And we take care of the space the same way I take care of a human. Yeah, there is no difference. And we collectively do that. Wow. This is really what we want to see in the world, because this can be, of course, projected into humanity and how we want to interact with our neighbors, with our families, with absolutely everybody. Yeah. Okay, I'm almost done. Next on my list for it's a classic, but I'm going to name it, is the importance of under promising and over delivering. Like literally, if you look at my website, and most people, they come because they want to become breathwork facilitators. You have no idea how little part becoming a breathwork facilitator will be in your training. It's going to be 5% of your experience. But I do that intentionally. I do that intentionally because, of course, I'm meeting people where they are. People want to make money. They want to have a career change. They think that they've heard of it, da, da, da. And no one really wants the transformation. It sounds like woo, and that sounds like not something I really want. People usually want to have a partner. They want to make money. That's usually what's motivating people. But on the other side, they actually meet themselves. And that's the biggest gift. And I have this vibration and this importance of always be generous. And be generous with your heart, generous in your time, in your availability. Just, it's a job where you're going to be of service. So be of service. And there is an incredible joy of being of service. There is something so rewarding, for being an assistant in a training, to just be there and wash the plates and be there for someone who's crying. And just this idea of just, hey, I'm just there of service. I mean, I could bring my last assistants in the 3 weeks. They got even more than most participants just because, wow, it's so good to really be giving. It's a secret of life, but sometimes because of the energy that is in the field, we don't trust anymore. We don't feel safe anymore. So we just feel I have to make money. I have to, protect and close myself. But intuitively, deep down, we want to give. We want to open up. We just have lost the tools to do that. But when we do that, it's the best feeling in the world. All right, friends. I will finish with something related to growth mindset. I have improved my training so much because every time I finish a training, I do two things. The first one being the most important. I take time to celebrate myself. So I really go straight to, oh my God, this was amazing. And I'm very specific about how amazing I was and all the incredible things I've done. And I really take the time to really celebrate myself and receive and no. And only after I go say, okay, what could I have improved? And in my way of communicating with my students, they feel extremely safe to share what I can improve. And that for me is the biggest sign that I've done a good job. When they can tell me in my face, I didn't like it, for this, for that, or that, I'm celebrating. I say, cool, there is something there. And I don't push back. I don't justify myself. I receive, I shut up, and I take it in because it's the truth of their experience. Then there is something for me to learn. And that's the only thing that I care is what can I learn from that? With that approach, I've increased and improved incredibly fast. Yeah. So not be stuck into my ways, my approach, what I believe, but being very fluid with that and staying in the, oh, okay, cool. I'm receiving. So that's what I have for you, my friends. Now I will welcome questions. Yeah, just before I do that, I do teacher trainings. This is kind of an introduction. If you want, you can join me. I'll be in Bali, 30 March, and then mid-May I'll be in India. So if you want to come to those places, there is an online facilitator training happening also. So feel free to send me private messages if you watch the recordings. Happy to get in touch and yeah, check if we are vibing, as kids say these days. All right, friends. And now I welcome questions. Anyone? Questions, remarks, feedback, whatever you want to say. And just so you know, this is live on Facebook as well. So if you don't want your photo, your face to appear now, then just turn off the camera when you share. Otherwise, I would love to see your faces. So turn on the camera.
Hello.
Yeah, Isabel.
Um, Alex, I was just wondering when you were talking about meeting people where they are, where do you think the line is between like remaining in your authenticity whilst also being able to meet people where they're at, if that makes sense?
Yeah, of course. It's it's intuitive, but there is a 5-year-old inside of me. So there is a deep pleasure in being on the
Mm.
ground and just tapping into it. It's just me calling that part, I think.
Yeah.
And there is I mean, I had tailored suits made that were, I paid 5,000 euro for a suit in Hong Kong. So there is a part of me that is really happy to put on a suit and have a Christian Dior tie.
Mm.
And so, it's just tapping all these parts and say, cool, it's a great opportunity and tapping into it. So I remain always authentic, but I can kind of direct my energy where I want to direct it. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
It's it's connecting with different parts of me, I guess. Yeah. And Isabel did the facilitator training, so we can also invite questions for Isabel if you guys want. Next question, remark. All is welcome. Oh my God, did a good job, or I was very boring. I don't know. Reactions then. I don't know. What did you think? Unmute yourself. Give me some popcorn style response and reactions.
Alex, sorry, I'm trying to raise my hand and I don't know how to do it. So
Go ahead.
may I raise my hand?
Yes.
I just put a question in the chat, but I was just interested to know about your intention setting stuff. So when you say about always having an intention really, really clear, if you did any specific practices for that, or just you just have that really great connect, because there's something I'm working on, but I find it harder to get out of my mind with stuff like that. So I'd be really interested to know how you connect in.
So I have a very repetitive morning practice that is forced to me because I have 2 dogs. So they don't give me a choice. They don't give me a break until they've gone for their walk. So I don't really have an option. If I want to have a bit of a good day, I need to take them on the walk. They are very clear with that. So it's a bit of, I call like forced mindfulness. Like I'm forced to go on that morning on that morning walk. And when I'm going on that walk is usually sunrise time around 6:30. And somehow I'm connecting to the sacred there. There's something about welcoming the sun. There's something about connecting to the energy of people. So basically, I just take a moment, and it's not something that I do intentionally, but there is something that really brings me back in my body because of that. I'm just softening into the beauty of the area I'm in. Lucky enough to do that, but I would say for someone who maybe don't have dogs or don't have rice fields, which I'm sorry for you, um, I guess developing some kind of modalities to get there. I like breath work. I love ice baths. So those would be my go-to modalities to just drop into out of my head and in my body. And just check in. Hello, my love. How are you feeling? And just connecting to that feeling part. And maybe write journaling about it. Oh, this is what's there. And there's and yeah, naturally things will come. And maybe I have connected to some of the participants, and there is something that's coming up. In my last training, I had 16 women and 1 man. So there was something really interesting and unconventional about the space. But I really let that influence me, and as a result, I really had the energy of I want to be one of the girls. I don't want to be, oh, they are the girls and they are the boys. And so and I'm lucky enough, the other man in the room also was very comfortable with his feminine. So at the end, it was just a group of girls having fun. And it didn't matter, the gender didn't really matter. There was really a sense of like a woman's retreat, and that was absolutely the energy in it. And it was really, really fun. And the gentleman decided to wear a bra at one point, and we did so we really brought that. We had fun with it. It was not, it was really fun, but it created an incredible level of safety, and one of the things that I'm working with more and more is bringing sexual energy in the space, which is quite taboo in our culture. So I really want women to feel safe to bring that kind of energy in the space, facilitated by men. Man, that's why there are so many women's retreat, because women rarely feel they can go there with men, but they did. And that's really a tribute to how we were interacting and how we were talking, and that was wonderful. So that was my intention there for that training. But yeah, it, it- and that's where I really take care of myself also. Says, oh, cool. What am I gonna allow rather than take? What am I gonna allow from this experience? And it's fantastic. Maxine.
Hi, Alex. Hi, everyone. I'm doing a somatic coaching course at the moment, and it very much mirrors what you've said about how you open the space for it to be a and safe space and for people to be able to trust to open up. How do you actually start the beginning of your session so that they feel safe and trust you?
The secret is that there is no start.
Okay.
So when people arrive, I'm already dancing on the deck. And then the first person, what they do, they mirror me, so they come and they dance. And then the third person comes, and then before you know it, we're all dancing on the deck. But there is no, okay, guys, let's start. It's very much organic. And why do that? Because people sign to a workshop because they want to embrace discomfort. And they think ice bath is going to be giving them discomfort, but it's not at all. Like the idea of uh, dancing at 7 a.m. without any alcohol in your blood, being very authentic with questions like, "What you tell me what you don't want me to know about you." Okay, so revealing things or things you're ashamed of, things like that, so that I go for the throat right away. And
What about on a one-to-one session, though? You can't really start dancing in front of somebody.
so one-on-one, I listen even more. One-on-one, I'm there and I'm just giving them space. I create the container saying, okay, now you're going to be talking for about 10 minutes. So I don't give them 3 hours of talking. Otherwise, they take me as a therapist. So
Mhm.
I give them a bit of a structure, got about 10 minutes. And then I flow with them. I see, I listen. I try to read and understand what they want to give it to them, but also what they need.
Mhm.
And if you're into somatic, I know usually 90% before they open their mouths because of their posture, because of the
Mhm.
shape of their body, because if they wear
Mhm.
glasses or not glasses, if their heart is closed, where they give away everything. You know how it is. The
Mhm.
body gives away everything. So the more I'm really reading the body and then I connect to the stories, usually I have my diagnosis and I try to give them what they want and what they need at the same time.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
But
you.
it's I never know what I'm going to do. And that's the
Yeah.
beauty of it. Like I don't know what a session will look like ever. Maybe I start with a nice bath. Maybe we go for a walk with the dogs. Maybe, like I don't know what I'm doing. And I really trust that things will unfold. But I'm strict with time. So there is awareness of time always. Like I'm always starting and always finish on time. It doesn't matter. So I have like if I create freedom, there is a time limit to it as well. So I know my masculine is not far to know when. Okay, now let's come back. Um, but it's no point opening them up with breath work if they're not ready. So
Hmm.
it's very much about, and some people they have never talked before, so they just need to finally be heard, and they have so much to share.
Hmm. Okay,
And
thank
and
you.
I and I and you know what? And I give them responsibility. So I never make them wrong. So if someone talks a lot, says, you know what, I would love to hear for the next 3 hours about you, and I'm happy to do that. Just want to know that it's what you want also, because you paid quite a lot of money for a private
Hmm.
with me, expecting breathwork and ice bath. So let's decide together what we're doing. So it's no longer me who is interrupting them. It's them deciding that, yeah, actually, thank you for reminding me because I also want to do some breath work. I'm not here just to talk. But I make them right, not wrong. I really, really validate what they're going through, and I empower them. Says, okay, let's decide what we're doing together. What's the rule of engagement? Thank you, Maxine. Anything else, friends? Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Alex.
Who is? Hey, Isabel. Who is Isabel? No, it's
No,
not
it's
Isabel.
it's Georgie. We spoke,
Yes.
and I
Hi,
said that
Georgie.
Isabel's coming to stay with me.
Hey, Georgie.
I just wanted to ask, I remember you mentioned about potentially doing something in Portugal. I wanted to ask if you have any details or ideas, like time frame when that would be or anything.
I'm going to throw her under the bus. This was supposed to be with Amy, and she bailed out on me. She's not too busy with other
Oh,
things.
oh
So
my God.
So you can be angry at Amy. No,
Yeah.
I'm joking. So I'm like being fully honest here. So that was the. So I still have the desire to do something in Europe, but there is
Mm.
nothing tangible at this point.
Okay. Do you see it as something in the future?
No, I count on Isabel.
I'll be
You're
there.
welcome.
No, basically, I
I'm
want
there.
strong. I want strong co-facilitators who have done the training and who can also, yeah. So it would be that's what it comes down to. That's why I mentioned Amy because she's really good, and it's a local. I'm doing it in India because I have a graduate who's got, I don't know, 200,000 followers now. She had 1,000 when she joined. Like if someone can help me with social media, I don't still don't get it, obviously. But yeah, so that's why I'm doing it in India, because then she's got the way to promote it and the network and then the venue, and I just come and I just facilitate. So I had this dream with Amy that she would just bring everyone, and then I can just do my
Mm.
magic. But if I have to
Mm,
do,
mm.
I don't like to do
There
this
is, I
kind of
feel
stuff.
like Amy has such like a, even on this chat, I can see so many people that I've met through Amy.
Exactly. But she's got
It's such
some
a
bigger
big
agenda.
collective.
She's got something bigger going on.
Hmm.
So that's her
Yeah,
focus.
she's got things going on.
Anything else, friends? Michelle, I saw you unmuted.
Oh, yeah, I was just saying hello and I miss you loads, but I am officially moving to Spain. I've sold my house yesterday, so you're welcome to come to Spain anytime and we can do a retreat there.
Michelle just did the 3 weeks with me. She was one of the girls.
I'll put my camera on. I'm just in my dressing gown. Sorry, guys.
It's a trend.
Yeah, it's morning here. But yeah, no, so you're welcome to Spain as soon as I'm out there, for sure.
Well, if there is no more question, we can hear a bit from Michelle and Isabel if there is things you want to share. There are things about,
Oh my
your
gosh.
whatever you want to share.
This is my doggy. Okay, I'll share then. I always seem to go first. I still get nervous, but the last 3 weeks have been, if nobody's done the training yet, I say jump on it. Like it has changed my life. I was don't want to go into the what happened to me, but I was in a very depressive place, lost a lot of people, like cancer, my baby, abusive relationship, and all that sort of stuff. So I really just lost my way. I didn't want to live. I was very just resigned to the fact that this was my life now. And then I went to Alex, and I was vulnerable and open from day one. But I think even that was a shield for me now when I think about it. And the confidence has just skyrocketed since we did that first practice facilitation on the group. Like, I didn't get any feedback apart from you need to work on your confidence. And I was like, damn it, I need more criticism. I need to know the steps. I need to know what I'm doing. And then it kind of clicked that Alex really knows what he's doing. Like, he is 2 steps, 10 steps ahead of us all. Like, he can see through us all. And I remember Alex saying on day one, I've written down in my journal everything that every one of you needs. And you will all agree with every single person until it comes to yourself. And to this day, I wonder what you wrote down. And honestly, I am just so
Mm.
fucking grateful that I took the chance, I took the leap to come there, because the trajectory of my life now is just completely different. And I could never imagine going back to that person. I'm grateful to who I was then. Like, I don't hold resentment like I used to. I'm just so beyond grateful that it really is like magic. So it is so much more than doing breath work or being a facilitator. It just, your whole life just transforms.
Mm.
So I am beyond grateful. So if you ever get a chance, honestly, jump in
Oh my
for
God,
sure.
getting goosebumps.
Sorry, guys, that was a lot.
You owe me. You also have to pay $1 every time you apologize in
I
this.
know,
There is a apology
my
jar.
bad. It's a terrible trait.
Oh, thank you so much for your beautiful words. I really feel seen and appreciated. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's kind of hard to promote what is happening there. You know, I call it the lost art of being human, but it's not something that, you know, is so easy to communicate because it sounds not possible somehow. So it's yeah. Wonder, Isabel, you've done it a while ago. If you want to share a bit, also your turn, where you're at and what you got from it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I could genuinely, I feel like for the experience in what it was for 3 weeks, I could probably sit and talk for 3 weeks about all the transformation that happened because it is very hard to articulate. But for me, I mean, you will know, day two on the training, I was like hugely triggered. And I basically had realized that I'd been really holding on to this identity of like being chronically ill, like I'm this ill person, that's my life, that's who I am. Um, and through being triggered and like really going into that, I learned so much about why I had these like thoughts about myself and these behaviors about myself and like the attention that I was seeking from my mum and how my mum would give me attention when I was sick, so I just made it such a huge part of my life um to try and get that attention. And I suppose cunning in a way because it serves you until it just doesn't serve you and your whole life becomes about being sick. And I was able to like really switch out of that mindset and take physical symptoms as just like my body's way of communicating with me. And I can honestly say that it changed my life so massively because I think the thing was I was resisting pain so much, but I think when you allow pain to exist is when it naturally dissolves because it's the resistant that makes pain so difficult. And as you allow it, it's just like such powerful communication. And and then like so many other things happened during the experience. It was a weird time because I ended up realizing I didn't want to be in like the 3.5 year relationship that I'd been in. And I didn't even fully know why I was feeling that way. I had this like really intuitive feeling. And for like everybody back home, it was so confusing because I was in this like vibration of like, today is the best day of my life. And everyone back home is like, but you're breaking up with your boyfriend. What do you mean? And I was like, but I'm learning so much about myself. And everybody was so confused. And to this day, my friends are what were you on? And I was like, my own supply. Like I was high on my own supply because I was just going through this like huge transformation. But I was like so grateful. And it was Gloria who said to us like day one, she said, be in awe of everything. And I think it took me a few days for that to like really sink in. Like after I'd had these triggers and I mean, I probably spent about 3 weeks crying, but but it was like this realization of like, I'm so in awe of all of my emotions, of all of my pain, of everything I'm learning, of all of the hardships and the transformation that I'm going through, because that is what this life is about. Like, this existence is about experiencing it all. And I became so grateful for that. And as I stopped resisting, everything fell kind of into place. And I'm gonna say as well, like after the training, the integration back into normal life was a process and it was difficult, but I had this understanding as well of like, this is all happening for a reason. And it was a weird, like, it was just like a crazy year where I feel like I was put in a washing machine. And then December, so a few months after the training had kind of happened. And I just felt like suddenly the world opened up. Like I'd been like so in tune with my intuition and suddenly it was making sense. It was like a huge contraction, and then I hit this expansion. And since then, I've been able to like start facilitating, which I'm so grateful for because the feeling of like holding space and bringing my medicine and the thing that really like transformed my life to other people, it is so rewarding. Like you talk about purpose, and like when I do that and when I experience that, that's enough. Like being able to hold space is enough. I don't need an outcome because I'm bringing what really transformed my life so completely. So if you're thinking about doing the training, do it. And Alex, I'm always, I'm always so grateful for the experience. And yeah, I feel like I could talk for days, but it
Mm.
was incredible and changed my life.
Mm. Ah, thank you so much. I also received that fully. It's like, woo, medicine from my heart. Now, I want to leave you guys, I want to leave you with a little something. Invite you to go on Netflix and watch a documentary on a lady, the Australians we know, called Belle Gibson. I don't know if you saw that. It's that girl who pretended to have brain cancer and build an empire based on a lie. And I really invite you to watch this documentary and track how it makes you feel. Because if you're really honest and really feeling it, just check in. It's so easy to go into judgment, oh, this person is wrong and this is not okay. But that's just the surface level. Which part of you is Belle Gibson? Yeah, it's apple cider vinegar, yes. And I had the same when I watched a documentary on Paris Hilton. It's so easy to have judgment of this is good and this is bad. We have some values. Lying is bad. Telling the truth is good. And that's it. That's how. And the world is pretty much defined like that. There's things that are okay, things that are not okay, and we don't pause to feel. Hang on a minute. Is there more to the story? I do believe that what we do is develop some coping mechanism. Some are acceptable by society, some are not acceptable by society, but we just all want to live, and we just develop ways for us to be happy. And we don't always know how to do that. So to be loved, to be seen, to be validated, there's so much that we are trying to do. And we're just wounded children trying to heal, sometimes in functional way, sometimes in dysfunctional way. And watching those documentaries are quite an eye-opener of how narrow-minded our society and our culture is when it comes to these things, when it's so easy to just close with just judgment. And I always get annoyed by the approach that those documentaries are all about, revealing what's wrong. And why is it so important? Because when you start to stop judging others and you start welcoming with compassion and understanding and curiosity everyone, the murderers, the rapist, the pedophile, then you can do exactly the same with the parts of you that you're pushing away. And it comes down to this unconditional love. And it's not so much about others, but it's very much about how hard we are on ourselves and which part we push away and we put in prison because they are just not welcome to the table. So yeah, homework. It's a cool little documentary. Paris Hilton also on YouTube. Like things are easy to watch and there's a lot to learn from. All right, my friends, if you're interested in the training, send me a direct message. Happy to get on a call with you. We only take 20 people every session, so Space is limited, so get in line. Love to all.